Sandy Steinman here, President of Background Checks Express, your one-stop source for accessible, accurate, and affordable background checks. In our last few videos, we've explored the subject of what it takes to prove a negligent hiring case. And we learned these cases are very expensive for employers, and we learned they lose them 79% of the time. We've also explored the subject of negative retention, and that's equally as dangerous and as expensive. But as they say on infomercials, there's more. And indeed there is. Today we're going to look at negligent supervision and negligent promotion. Yep, believe it or not, there's such a thing. Under the umbrella of negligent supervision, employers can be found liable for the negligent supervision of an employee when third parties are injured as a result of the tortuous actions by their employees. That means when employees do bad stuff. The plaintiff has to prove that the employer knew, or through the exercise of due diligence, should have known that the supervised person posed a risk to third parties. There's a prime example of this in the South Dakota case in which an underage employee was given unsupervised and unrestricted access to alcoholic beverages while performing his job as a drink runner at a racetrack, and was not prevented from becoming drunk while at work. The court held that the employer had a duty to supervise the employee in such a way as to be sure that he didn't abuse alcohol, become intoxicated, leave work premises unfit to drive, and injure or kill a member of the public, which is exactly what he did. And finally, for someone to win in a negligent promotion action, it has to be proven that the employer knew, or with due diligence should have known, that the promoted employee was incompetent or unfit to perform the job to which he was promoted. You'll note that there's a common thread here. It's called due diligence. And employers have got to be sure they perform due diligence. Now, there's some good news in this case, because a court ruled that it was not the negligence of a garage owner who promoted an employee to a night manager position without background checking him, even though, unbeknownst to the employee had a criminal past, because the employee was bonded when he was hired 3 years earlier and had an outstanding work record since. Still, you know what? If it were me, I'd run a background check on someone I was promoting who had not had a check done earlier. It's just playing it safe, and it's just due diligence. As always, I hope this information has really made you think about not becoming a defendant and become determined not to do that. Remember, employee problems are caused by problem employees. And if you want to avoid those problems, and you want to avoid becoming a defendant, call me today at 844-727-3366 and let me show you just how easy it is and how affordable it can be to perform accurate and accessible background checks and to stay out of court. In our next video, we're going to look at the subject of negligent failure to warn. And that's an interesting subject. In the meanwhile, be safe, hire safe, and I'll see you in the next video.